We're live. All right.
Perfect.
We, we had to get the mic turned on so you guys can hear us. And if you're listening, but you can't hear anything, it's not us, it's you. There's a little button that has a sound thing. It's kind of small. And if you're old like me, you probably can't even see it. But today we have George Joy with us, and he is going to be at the Portland show. He just set up today, so did we. And he operates, I'm going to say it wrong because I just asked him, Becharof. And so just the obvious question, is that Russian or native?
It's Russian.
Russian. Okay,
yeah.
And for those of you that don't know, Russia was really involved with Alaska. Not just one little area, like the whole thing. There's a lot of Russian names up there. I don't know if a lot of Russian people are still living there.
There's still quite a few Russian people. Yeah.
So George, we are going to talk a little bit about what makes George tick, and I've used that word a few times already. But he grew up in Washington, and I know he loves to. He's a little bit of a gearhead like me. So that means we'd probably get along if we were stuck in Alaska together for like a month, right?
We'd be working on stuff, that's for sure.
So we got some pictures here. So you said you don't have a lot of kid pictures, which is okay.
I don't have a lot of those.
Yeah. Let's see, Linz. Is this a few years back? Or?
Yeah, I'd say probably about 10, 15 years ago.
It almost looks like you're in Mexico or something.
It could be. That wouldn't surprise me. I go there often.
It looks like a big lime there behind your head. Let's see. So he has. Okay, this is cool.
Here we go.
We're
gonna start firing off on this.
So who is this driving here?
That's me and my granddaughter. She helped me with that car quite a bit. That was owned by Mark, my partner. It's his father-in-law's car.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. It's got a rumble seat on it, right?
Yeah, it's got a rumble seat in it.
What is it, like a 35, 34?
I think it's a 34, I think it is.
34?
Yeah.
And I only know that because I'm kind of a gearhead. So. But cars are fun. We were just discussing how you can get lost in them.
You were a resto on one, weren't you, T?
What's
like
that?
a 32 coupe? Is that
38?
38?
Yeah, I put a lot of time into that thing. I mean, it was pretty rotten. But once you get everything fixed, it's like a new car again, and it's kind of fun. So here we go. So now we're headed up to Alaska, and my eyes are blurry, but I can tell that's a massive.
Looks like a moose.
That's a moose. That's a big bull there. Yeah. We shot that thing, and I couldn't believe it. It was like disappeared. I seen a bunch of splashing going on, and it was freaking gone. And so I would go over there to find it, and just a little bit of the antler was sticking out of the water.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. So how do you get that out of there? You got like four-wheelers come along?
Well, it's quite hard to get a four-wheeler in there, but yeah, I had a four-wheeler, and then we had come-alongs, 2 come-alongs, and I tied a bunch of lines to a bunch of different alder trees, and we come-alonged it, and we had to have guys grabbing on the antlers and moving the antlers while we were come-alonging it to bring it in. It was quite an ordeal.
Wow, that's amazing.
So I don't know if we like touched it, but like, what's the history of you lived in Washington, and then what was the move to start a lodge in Alaska?
Well, it started out, I was working a job. I was working about 30 days a month, and I was just tired of it. And I thought, you know what? I am just done, and I'm going to go on a vacation to Alaska. So then I met this lady, and her daughter was also up there, and she commercial fished. And so I went up with my stepdad and my mom and my daughter, and we did a lot of fishing and clam digging and everything. And then when I came back, then I went to Alaska commercial fishing. And I've been doing that ever since. I think I have 38 years doing it on this river, Egegik River.
Yeah, there's a lot of commercial fishing up there. I remember fishing and we'd be fishing in one stretch that's close to the ocean, kind of the river we were on, and then the jet boats, they literally run over the fish and run up and down, and then you cast and catch fish. And it's like, wow, okay, well, these fish don't seem to care. But and then there were four-wheelers on the beach.
Oh yeah, lots of four-wheelers, lots of boats.
DC3 laying at the far end of the beach.
You must have been the same place I've been.
Oh,
Egegik.
there must be a lot of places. There's
a
Everywhere.
DC on the beach.
But I will never forget that DC3 when they started up cold. And I just learned this. They spin that motor over 12 times and flip the magnetos on. And if you have never been next to a DC3 or close to it, you need to try it sometime.
Sounds like go to Alaska.
Oh my gosh. And then it took over, like almost over my head. Anyway, I will never forget that. That was so cool. Okay, sorry. So back to the commercial fishing. And then so the lodge just pop up?
Yeah, it was, I commercial fished for many years. And the guy that I was commercial fishing with, he knew an outfitter that was there. And he knew also that I really liked to hunt and fish. And so he introduced me to the outfitter. And so then I started guiding for bear, coastal brown bear, and for moose. You know, and I did that for about, 6 or 7 or 8 years. And then I started guiding up at the lodge, because he owned the lodge at that time.
Oh, okay.
And then he got kind of tired of it. And so he asked me if I wanted to buy it. And I said, sure. So I had a partner, Mark. I've known him for 30 some years. And Mark and I decided to purchase it.
And like the previous owner, I mean, what better situation can you have than to actually know the person?
Have an employee and then say, hey, this is
yeah.
going to be in good hands.
Yeah, you have some confidence that things are going to get taken care of, right?
Yeah.
For one thing. But so let's keep going. We got a lot of pictures here. This is you. I want to say ice fishing, but probably not.
No, it's not ice fishing. No, this is a moose camp a few years ago. And we have these little Eskimo tents, and they pop right up, and they withstand the wind. They're just like awesome. And I usually use them for cooking in because they're really not quite.
You got the setup going on.
Yeah, you can sit about 4 or 5 guys in there and cook, and of course it's warm in there because you got your little stove going. You're cooking and stuff.
And that's probably required to be when you're out there, right? I mean, you can't just throw a sleeping bag on the cot and look at the stars.
Look at the stars. Yeah, you can, but we really sleep in tents most of the time. Mosquitoes, they don't like, they can.
I mean, don't you watch like that show Alone? I mean, there's dudes they start with nothing out in the bush and they're doing it.
I love that show. If I was on that show, I would just fatten myself up.
It's always the person that usually knows how to fish and that gets some meat on the ground.
And they start off with some reserves.
That's who usually survives.
They start like this and they're like that when they're done.
Yeah. So this was the moose that was actually in the water there.
Oh, okay.
And
that's got some big.
You have to have a raft to get to it, of course. And then I actually had the moose or the rack and the cape on the front, meat in there, and then it had meat in both rafts, and we never actually carried any of it.
Wow. So you couldn't actually get the 4-wheeler to where it was located?
No, it was in the water. We had to take it from rafts, and we had to move it over, and then we had to transport it on land a little bit, and then we had to go through water again to get to the 4-wheeler.
Wow.
Yeah.
Then you thought, gosh, maybe I shouldn't have done
How are you yanking the come-alongs and stuff?
Well, the actual guy that killed it was actually doing the come-along, and we were on the antlers, holding the antlers up because they were just digging in.
Do you put like a wedge in the
in the mud or something?
No. There was little tiny alder bushes. Up there, they're called alder bushes because they're small. Here, you can get an alder tree, but the big ones are maybe 4 or 5 inches around, but there was just a whole bunch of little tiny ones, so I put half inches on them and had little lines coming in to give me enough strength to do it.
Okay, because I mean, looking at the pictures, like, what do you tie to? It's like grass.
There was nothing out there, it looked like.
Yeah, it's grass.
There's not much to tie to. I had to have lines. I got a hold of the outfitter, and I said, I need a couple come-alongs, and I need a bunch of line, and I need some help.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he sent me up a couple of guys, Yeah, it was pretty fun.
This is another...
That's another bull. Yeah, that was taken last year, I think, with Steve Frisbee. He's been to the lodge a lot, and he wanted to shoot a big bull. So I said, you know what, come up.
And you were saying mostly you just hunt with friends at the lodge at this point.
That's what I do now. I actually.
But if you got $50,000, no.
No, it's about $25,000 for a moose hunt. Plus expenses more than that. It's probably going to end up $30,000.
But you could shoot a bull of a lifetime.
Yeah, you only get one chance.
I mean, that's a memory. It's a good memory.
Yeah, definitely. Oh wow, look at this.
I mean,
This
that's when you know how big
this
it
one,
is.
look
Look at
at
that. You're
it.
just
Looks like,
chilling in
yeah.
that.
Yeah, this one was my dentist, Jeff. He's awesome. He came up, him and his uncle came up hunting one year. And so this was actually a guided hunt right here.
That is a big animal.
It was a big bull.
Man.
How old would you say that bull is?
I'm going to say it's probably 7 to 10 years old.
It's not
like
that
that.
old, really.
Yeah, they start deteriorating after so many years. The antlers start.
They start regressing
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
They
Yeah.
Is it like a horse years, kind of like an old horse was like 2018? They probably don't even live that long.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how long they live, but I'm going to say by the time they're 12 or 15, I think they're probably deteriorating.
They're on the side of life.
Yeah.
They're like me. No, I'm sorry. All right, so this is another
The
one.
retrieval.
Is that
Yeah.
the same kind of general location?
Yep, that was
The first
that
one?
was actually.
We got the Bimark special rafts.
Yeah, those rafts. I tell you what, they're Amazon for like $50, but you know what? They work so well.
Plus, you've got to fly everything in and out. Right? So,
Yeah, on Steve's Moose last year, I had 4 of those rafts, and we shot away up this creek, and we walked up there, and we filled up all the rafts up there, and we moved all the meat and the cape and everything down with the rafts. Saved us a lot of weight.
So now this one, that's a bear skull?
That's a bear, yeah. That's
Guessing?
a coastal brown bear. That was taken by Scott Haugen.
Was that just on the ground?
Yeah,
You
that's just
found it?
no. We had
on the
skinned it
hunt?
out. Scott,
Okay.
Scott. I spotted the moose. There's a article online. You can see it. I think it's Scott Haugen, hunt of a lifetime or something like that. But it was a big old boar, and it was 24 years old.
Wow.
Yeah,
Whoa,
yeah.
wow.
I'm the outfitter was actually there, and he actually went with Scott, and I was actually just watching it. And I'm watching it with a very high-powered spotting scope. And Scott is walking along, and they're trying to catch this bear. When they're walking slow, you can't even run and keep up with them.
Yeah.
Their strides so long. And this bear would walk for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then it would just fall flat on his face. And it would just lay there for a few minutes, and then it would get back up and going again. It was just,
That's how old he was.
he was old and tired. He was done.
And so,
you know?
here, let's bring this one in. Is that from that bear? Or,
Yeah, I think it might have been from that bear. No,
Wow.
look how big those fingers are. They're
gosh,
bigger than my
huge.
hand.
Well, yeah, I was thinking, he's holding the paw out towards the camera.
No,
but
it's
he's not.
right
Look at
next to me.
Look at his hands. The hands. Yeah.
3 fingers and as wide as my head almost,
Imagine just one.
Oh, yeah.
Smoked.
Oh, you're out.
Gone.
You're
It's
gone.
Your face is gone. That's
Face
for
is
sure.
I mean, you've seen like some of the aftermath videos. It's just crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy. They're so powerful.
And they're so fast.
And they're so fast and they're so smart. They're very, very, very smart, Yeah. So I kind of.
A wolf here.
Oh, yeah. That was up on the King Salmon River. That was quite a few years ago. It's kind of nice. That same day, the wind was blowing like 30 miles an hour. And all of a sudden, it just stopped. I'm like, wow, that was weird. And then it's blowing 30 miles an hour again, same direction. And it stops again. And all of a sudden, the wind's blowing the opposite direction, 30 miles an hour. It's like weird,
Well, that's when the predators like to hunt, right? When you get the crazy wind and some rain going sideways, because you don't hear anything until it's right on top of you.
Yeah. This we had actually floated down the river. We went, I think it was about 18 miles or so. We floated down the river, and this was down at the bottom end of the river, at the King Salmon.
Is that close to the lodge?
Yeah, yeah. It's in between the lodge and where I commercial fish at.
How many rivers are right by you?
Not very many. There's the Egegik River, is the main river, and then this is the King Salmon River, takes off of it, and that's about it. There's some smaller creeks and stuff that kings can go up, and silvers and reds and stuff, but there's really not that many rivers on our one main river. It's only, I'm going to say 30 miles long, and it gets up to the lake, the second largest lake, which is Becharof Lake.
So, but there's always a constant flow because there's probably a lot of creeks going into the
Constant
lake.
flow.
Yeah.
Constant, yeah. And then it's tide water. The tide water goes up somewhere around 20 miles or 25 miles. It's all affected by the tide.
How remote is it?
It's pretty remote. I'm going to say...
Are we biplaning in and then...
Yeah, plane only.
Plane only.
There's no roads or anything. Yeah, the town of Egegik is, as the crow flies, it's probably 15 or 20 miles. but there's nothing there. There's no grocery stores. There's nothing,
Yeah.
unless commercial fishing's going on. Then you can buy some stuff, a little bit of stuff, but it's remote. Then the next closest town would be King Salmon, and it's like 60 miles away. There's like 1,200 people there or something. They have lots of stores and gasoline and everything.
Yeah.
Pretty remote.
All right, so here's a bear.
Yeah, that's a coastal brown bear. That's with a buddy of mine. He was helping me guide for it, Yeah, bears, they're so big.
So each year, do you have so many tags and so many animals?
Well, the bear, the bear and the moose both are unlimited tags. But of course, you need to go through an outfitter, if you're bear hunting. If you're moose hunting, then you don't have to have an outfitter.
Wow, so there's a lot of animals.
There's a lot of animals. There is.
Wow, because normally you'd have like a limit, right? Or
there's a lot of animals. They did change the season a little bit. A few years ago, they cut down the amount of days by like 4 or something because they thought the population was going down a little bit. But I don't really think it was. But they're the ones that control that, right?
from where you're at, how far would be the next, like, say, lodge be? The town comes first, probably.
Well, we actually have 2 lodges on our river.
Oh, okay.
So the other one, he's across the river and down about 2 or 3 miles or so. So there's the whole river is open for just him and us, you know.
So it's quiet.
It's quiet, yeah. There's some airplanes that come in and they land down in the lagoon down below us, you know, and they fish down there a little bit, but it's pretty quiet, very quiet, you know.
Okay, so it looks like you had a visitor up there. That was this last fall.
Last fall, that was Donnie Trump Jr. Yep.
Yeah.
He brought him and his boys up, and we had a good time, and there was 0 political conversations. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
That's a trip with the dad and his sons, and you know, just have a good time, catch some.
And he's a huge hunter and fisherman.
Yes, he is. He loves it. Yeah. So he was. We were up at the lake there, and he had his son out on this rock, and he really just wanted to have time by himself, right? Him and his sons, right? And so they're out on this rock fishing, and he's telling his son how to fish, you know, cast it out there. Pretty soon the son gets one on, and I'm kind of watching, you know, so I see him, and so I come down to help him out, and it's probably, you know, a couple 3 feet deep water, and it's kind of moving, and they're out on the rock out beyond. So the son, he flips his line around here, so I grab the line, and I grab the fish and unhook it, so he goes back to fishing, right? And then Donnie was saying to him, you know, that's what you get listening to me, you know, you get to catch fish, right? So then Donnie starts fishing, and he actually catches the fish also, and he brings it into me just like his son did. And when I grabbed the line and I went to grab the fish, it flopped, and it was Power Pro, and it's heavy duty stuff, but it broke the line. And I heard about it every day. That was the largest coho ever caught.
Oh, probably.
But it was almost caught.
30 pounds, I'm sure, right? At least 35. Well, you know, when you got the line and you got
40-pound
fish,
coho, maybe.
Yeah.
that's gonna happen, you know. I mean,
It just snapped the line.
Not your fault.
It wasn't my fault, but you know
Who
what?
tied the knot? You know, that's what it starts to come down to.
To them, no.
Well, actually was a knot. It's wear from the rocks on the Power Pro.
Yeah.
So did
That
the kids like start getting into the fishing?
Oh yeah, they love it. They love it. Yeah, and then they were. You can ptarmigan hunt. I can't guide you ptarmigan hunting, but you can ptarmigan hunt in the refuge. And so his boys love to shoot guns and stuff, so they went ptarmigan hunting a few different times.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And I took them down commercial fishing once, and they did a lot of sports fishing. They just wanted to be remote by themselves, and that's what they got. You know?
When Lucas was up there, he got some video of some little red foxes, all kinds of wildlife up there. Like, you almost don't know what's going to show up each day.
Yeah, we had a wolf come up to the lodge about 4 years ago or so, and the season was open, but you know what? I got people taking pictures and stuff, and so I didn't shoot it. You know, but we have foxes. We have a bird that was coming in the lodge. You know, I'd leave the door open, he'd come in and, you know, peck on the ground. You know, every single day he'd be in there eating crumbs. You know,
like a pet, right?
like a pet bird. Yeah. We get lots of caribou around. We have some moose, you know. We see a moose probably every year, every other year, or something like that. Sometimes see 2 of them. Caribou, we see caribou quite often.
Do the moose have like I don't hunt, So if these questions sound stupid, they probably do sound stupid. Do moose have like a range or territory, like a cat or something? Or,
I'm going to say they go
just wander?
Quite a ways, especially during breeding season. You know what? I think they'll probably go 40, 50, 60 miles to find some cows.
So they really can move.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bulls up there. The survival rate for the calves is very low. I don't know exactly what
just because of the wolves
the wolves and the bears.
And the bears, yeah. I could see that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's anywhere though. It's getting to the point that I feel like it's just not just there, but here too.
We've got wolves here now.
Yeah. So my business partner Mark, he wanted to shoot a bear, and so him and I were at the lodge, and we're hunting out of the lodge through the outfitter, and we're up on top of this hill, and all of a sudden we spot a bear, right? And it's walking along, and this is May. Pretty early, so it just came out of hibernation. And all of a sudden, the bear's nose went right to the ground, and it's running. And all of a sudden, we look out in front of it, and there's this cow and a calf, right? And we're like, oh my goodness, And so all of a sudden, the bear and the cow, moose, were in this big fight. And I saw the bear jump up on its back one time and just claw right down its back, And then all of a sudden, the cow, she moved off to the side, and you could tell that he got the calf. They got the calf. So Mark likes, George,
that's rough.
I'm going to take that bear.
Oh.
So we went and took the bear.
Yeah, I mean, that's hard to watch. It's just Mother Nature. But, I mean, gosh, right? Yeah. Shocking.
It was shocking. But you know what? It was kind of weird. After we shot and the bear was dead, that moose went right over to the bear. And it was like looking at it, and then it looked at us and looked back at the bear. And then all of a sudden it looked at us and it started running towards us. And all the other guys are like afraid because it's running at us.
They're like, holy shit.
But you know what? It was telling us thank you. It was not aggressive.
And then it went like this?
No, it didn't quite, We moved back and,
Let it do its thing.
Let it do its thing. But it was thanking us for killing the bear.
Yeah.
You're like, where were you 2 hours ago?
I know.
Yeah. That's what I was saying.
Should have shot it before. Could have killed his calf. Yeah. Not good, is it?
All right. So who is this person on the left? Is that you there?
That's me. And Donnie Trump Jr. on the right.
You're incognito there with the hat and the glasses.
I'm kind of incognito there, aren't I? I wear a lot of hats. Okay?
Yeah. Oh, I
got bald head.
Probably physically, a lot of hats, right? Life in general.
I have some hats. I got dreads,
There's a different hat.
Dreads. Oh, yeah. I got lots of different
look at all the rods. Holy smokes.
You think that's some rods?
I mean, if you can't catch a fish with one of those things, I don't know what you're doing.
Go back to the rod picture.
Yeah, I had to have a picture of that.
We got every bead color jig head just set up, no pre-tie, or what's going on?
They're big on the beads. Let's stay here for just a sec.
I like those BNR beads.
Yeah.
Oh, I just love those things. You could pretty much catch a fish, maybe not every cast, but you'd be keeping up with the guy fishing with eggs, and you didn't have to get your fingers dirty or anything,
Is there a certain size you think works best?
I like the 32 millimeters, the biggest ones.
32?
32?
That's what I liked, okay?
Oh.
And I put them on mine, and they just hammer them.
32, that's like
that's like big. They're about the size of a golf ball. But we had this bead. I don't know how we got it, but it was in the lodge, and it was bigger than a softball. And I was talking to Dylan. I said, hey, Dylan, you think you can catch a fish on that bead? And he's like, well, I'll try it, George. And so you know what he did? All of a sudden, he's out there fishing. He's like, George, check it out. I got one on the bead. And it was bigger than a softball.
What size hook are you running for
That's crazy.
A 32 mil?
A 2 probably.
A 2?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
So what's the story on this picture? Why do we have so many rods?
So many rods.
That's
headed out. Is this like the first
headed out to the river? I'm assuming.
Well, yeah, we were probably headed out, and we're not going to take all those rods. But let's say I had a couple different guides going, and each guide's got, let's say, 4 fishermen or whatever, right? So they like to have extra rods there, so they usually have 2 rods per fisherman or so.
Yeah.
You know,
you got to have your gear rod, your fly rod.
And then there's some fly rods in there.
Maybe your center pin.
Well, we like to have some, bobbers on some of them and some jigs and some spinners, right? So it's just easier rather than tying them all up again, just bring extra rods. We got lots of rods,
Oh, I can tell.
Yeah. I counted them last year. We had like 102 rods,
So you're doing the beads, and you really like the beads. What about eggs?
Oh, yes. Eggs, spinners, jigs,
Twitching.
Top water, twitching, a lot of twitching, yeah.
Oh, yeah, the top water.
Yeah.
How, do you try to push people when they come to the lodge to do some top water, doing the popper? And experience it?
I like them to experience everything. Okay, that's the best thing.
Yeah.
See some animals, we'll see a bear across the river or whatever, and I'll hop in a boat and we'll go over and we'll take pictures of it and stuff. I like people to have a wilderness experience, And I like no Wi-Fi, or no telephone service, but I got Wi-Fi now.
Hey, yeah, that's not so bad.
Elon Musk. I had 25 phones on at one time, and it was still working correctly.
25 cell phones?
Cell phones, yeah, wow. One time.
Is that like 10G? I don't know.
I don't know what it is, but it works really well. It does.
Going back to the 50 rods, you can catch a bunch of fish doing one thing, and you're almost like, well, I know that works. Mm-hmm. Maybe take a little break, sit in the sand, eat lunch, and then just try something else. Just for fun, or maybe you want to learn how to do a different technique. But, it's fun to change it up with fishing in different ways.
When it's that good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, if you got confidence and you're hoping to catch one fish in a day, then maybe stick with it.
I mean, to catch a coho on a popper in the Northwest, you would have to spend some hours.
Yeah.
You could do it, but
I think you could. I think
you would probably have to live at the coast, watch all the tides, watch the run, and be there every day, and maybe get one.
And up there, it's a lot different.
Yeah, and you still have to work up there. You got to find that one fish that wants to chase it and start grabbing it.
Yeah,
it looks like bass fishing.
Yeah, and then a lot of times go after the bobbers too. You can see them chasing bobbers.
Chasing the bobbers.
Yeah. I thought we should use bobbers and put hooks on those.
Actually, yeah.
My guys won't let me do those kind of things.
We were doing the spinner weight thing, and you could see the fish, and you're reeling the spinner with your, ball weight back, whatever, and the fish were right behind the ball, just right on it. I think you just, stop for a sec. I don't know if they ever hit it, but they were not following the spinner. They were up on the ball. Yeah. Just like you're saying, those coho. I don't know. You're probably right.
Coho, they're so much fun. They're so aggressive. They just want to eat and fight.
Oh yeah.
And if you've got 3 or 4 on at a time on the beach, you try and keep them from getting tangled, but you're tangling and up around. Give me a ride. Let's go around that one once and back around this one. That's pretty fun. Very fun.
Hey, if we do get any questions, if you guys have some questions about the lodge, feel free to comment. If you have any questions, so the landscape up there, I can see in the pictures that. Well, let's go to this picture right here. It's not like totally just flat tundra. It looks like you have some rolling.
It's a lot of rolling hills, a lot of them. We don't have a lot of trees, but our trees are, let's say, a big tree is a couple inches around, and it might be like 10 feet tall. And it's mainly like spots. You'll have like a little forestation area, and then nothing.
Yeah, so if you're hunting, you don't pop over one ridge and then it's tundra for 10 miles. And you just go like this. Nothing here.
Nothing there. No.
It's all surprises.
Yeah, and you don't know when you're going to see a bear or a moose or whatever. Mm-hmm. You have to just keep on looking all around you at all times. Mm-hmm. And I'm so happy or so hyper that works really well for me. I'm constantly hyper. Yeah.
Good. You gotta have energy to do that lodge stuff. Trust me. You gotta be on it all the time, on what you're doing and on what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, and keeping everything going, all the hot water going, and the toilets, and all the boat motors.
Just the general maintenance keeps you busy.
It keeps me busy. Yeah.
Yeah. You're not just a lodge owner. You're like a contractor, a fisherman, a got a guy that cooks probably.
Running the boats. I do cooking.
Fixing the boats.
The steaks, hot water.
It's like an everything all the time person, right?
Lots of propane, lots of gas, lots of heating oil. You gotta have some heat in the buildings, right? People like that.
When do you shut everything down? Like end of September?
Yeah, like September 7th or something like that.
Okay, so early September.
When does it start up?
It starts up August 1st.
So the fall. So you don't do any early fishing?
No, I did one year. I did kings, and I did kings and rainbows, and I did reds. Mm-hmm. Then I did silvers. I did that one year. I might do it again here one of these years. The reds were pretty fun. You know what? There was a lot of reds. Last year we had 600,000 reds come by the lodge in one day.
Wow.
One day. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. That's a lot.
Do you get much steelhead?
No, we have no steelhead.
No steelhead.
Not even a random.
Like a
random.
drive-by, like you strayed?
I've never saw one.
We've caught some randoms in Southeast. I know
Mm-hmm.
they sneak up there. We caught one that was clipped.
Really?
Where the heck did this thing? I mean, they don't raise steelhead in Alaska at all, right?
No, I don't think so.
So it had to be from Washington or Oregon or someplace, which is odd. But yeah, we got a
That's
hatchery
wild.
Steelhead. Right? Isn't that crazy?
That's kind of crazy. Yeah, we get some weird stuff up there sometimes. Some different sharks and, some cod and some different fish, but some bullheads and some Irish lords and, some different things.
Yeah.
And dollies. Lots of times when we're commercial fishing, the dollies, you'll get a lot of them.
They get big too.
They get big, yeah.
10 pounds.
Yeah.
Big one.
They're pretty fun,
So each year, like how many? So the lodge itself is there 3 buildings? I should have had a picture.
No, there's
but I
about
can
like
explain.
9 buildings or so.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So there's I'm assuming like the where you eat, the cafeteria. I don't know what you would call it.
Yeah. We have a place where we cook at, and there's also enough seating for, 12 or 15 people or so. And then we have a large building next to it. We also have some sitting in there, so you can sit in there and eat, and you can see the mountain and the river and everything. And then there's also 5 bedrooms in that place, plus a full bath.
So have you added a lot of these buildings in the last couple of years?
Yeah, we when Mark and I bought the place, I said one of the biggest things we need to do is get rid of tents. And so we did. We got rid of all the tents and we put up some large buildings. We brought up 53,000 pounds of lumber from Astoria to Seattle, loaded in a container, bringing it, got dropped off in Egegik in the town. Then we'd take boat trailers and we'd fill it up with some of the stuff. We'd 3 boats at a time and, run it all the way upriver, 35 miles upriver.
And build.
It wasn't built slow. No, it was 7 days from start to finish. It's built.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. My partner's a contractor. And I'll tell you what, he is incredible and he can just flat build. We had a good sized crew too. We had, there's like 7 of them doing that. And
so you got generators, so they were running the nail guns.
Generators, yeah. Everything's generators. There's no power.
No hammer and teeth. No hammer and
No,
nails for a whole building.
They put the nail in the back.
Not 7 days.
No, it's bing, 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 bing. Yeah, it's a 2-story building, And then we got that one done, and then the following year we did another 2-story building, and it's got 4 rooms in it plus a bath in it.
So how many people can you have at one time?
Well,
16.
We don't like to have too many. We like to have like 12 to 16, but sometimes, if you have a big group coming in, sometimes they'll tie up with another group and you might have 18 or something. We had 24 for 2 days one time,
Wow.
Yeah. And when we got all done though, I asked many different clients, but where was the problem? Was there a problem anywhere? And, there's lots of fish, lots of food, and they all said, George, everything was perfect. So, but I don't like to have
more personal.
If you have a lower amount of people, it's better, But you also have to have enough people to pay for the place because you're only open for 5 weeks out of the year.
Gosh, wow.
So your whole business,
5 weeks.
5 weeks out of the year.
Wow.
And it's shut down the whole rest of the time. Yeah, it's
So
it's
book
tricky.
now. 5 weeks.
5 weeks.
You're
5 weeks.
So you're only going to live so much longer, and there's only 5 weeks a year. Right.
weeks. Yeah.
How long does it take?
Squeeze it in.
Obviously, when winter hits, how much rehab are you doing in the
year?
beginning of like when you start the season?
There's really probably not that much. I might have a frozen line. I use PEX, and so I might have to cut it and put it in the splice. And there might be a few other little things, and cleaning is one of the biggest things. You know how to use for cleaning? You won't even believe it. I use an electric pressure washer. And it works so good. Yeah. You got the kitchen, you come in, spray everything down. It's all rinsed and clean. The bathrooms, I pressure wash them. It gets rid of all the dust and dirt, and I mop up the water on the ground. It just works excellent.
The doors open, dries out.
The door, no, I drill holes in the floor.
Oh, well,
we're remote. We can do whatever we want.
Just a few little drains.
A few little drain holes here and there, and it just drains the water off, or I mop it up, But it works really well for cleaning.
I did see that the little, I don't know, you don't have like the pack rats, do you? Those little guys, because I heard they like pecks. Anyway, they like wiring, stuff like that. So no, they don't get any. No.
We have some little shrews kind of things, a little bit of those, but not very much. Our pest, our number one pest is bears.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we see those often.
Oh, they probably love pecks. They can get their mouth on it.
Yeah,
find it.
Yeah, they love chewing on stuff. If you got a raft and it's down by the water, it's chewed on, guaranteed. They're chewing it up.
Gosh, I was with Chris Hargate fishing the Umpqua last week, and he adopted a dog. His son Gabe told us this actually, and the dog would go under his trailers and under his trucks and just rip the wiring off the covers. Anyway, he had to adopt that one away. But that's a major headache. Anyway.
So 2 years ago, I usually start in May getting everything up to the lodge, right? And not necessarily organizing, but just get it up there. So anyway, I got everything up there and everything's good. I got my electric fence up. And then I come up in mid-July or late July. And the buildings, we had 7 different chew marks in the buildings on corners of them. Plus I got this deck that's out there and it chewed up, I don't remember exactly how many pieces, but I think it was 7 pieces of plywood on the deck it chewed on. They're just
living on it.
They're glue. They probably smell
I
like
don't know what it
glue.
is. Or maybe someone spilled something there the previous year and they can smell so good,
Maybe it was a little one teething.
No, it's a big one. You can see by the big marks on the corners of the building. They just chew. You know what?
Yeah, because there's actually other than the little trees, right? The spruces.
Yeah.
Your building is on the list.
That's
right?
it. That's what they do.
Look,
they got no big stumps to just root around it.
No, nothing. They just love chewing on stuff. I'm telling you what. If there's any buoys around, commercial fishing buoys or anything, they're chewing on those things for sure. And eating raft, they just love it.
You got to go back to glass, right? Glass
balls, yeah. We find those too.
Are they still popping up?
Oh yeah, we still actually find quite a few of them. Lots of bones down at the coast.
I wonder, do they still use the glass in China or Japan? Right? Isn't that where they would float over from?
Yeah, they all come out. Like some big storm will push them in, on the bank, and pretty soon, all of a sudden, the storm will be washing out the bank again, after 30, 40, 50 years or whatever.
Oh, so they could be buried in the sand still, and then
they get washed out. I can see that.
Yeah.
I
found
amazing,
a lot of them.
Though. That's amazing that they can be in there for so long.
Like my mom and I were at the coast one time, and I think it was Pacific. It was Coos Bay, and we're down there, and my mom sees one from the hotel, in the balcony. She sees it. She's like, "Let's go get it." And here comes this dude.
Did he race you guys?
Racing down to the ball. And he couldn't believe, my mom was couldn't believe, she was pissed.
She missed out on it.
Yeah.
Well, she needs to come to Alaska. And
there we go, get the whole trip.
Yeah.
Mom and her son and some guys racing.
Racing to get one, yeah. Up there,
that's just wrong.
At the lodge, we don't have them, but out on the coast, you can pretty much find them. Pretty much. And lots of bones, lots of whale bones and stuff out there. So we have a lot of bones that have been collected throughout the years, and they're actually at the lodge, to see.
That's cool. Right, big whale bones.
Big whale bones and little whale bones and skulls and all kinds of stuff, that people can look at.
Let's check this sunset out. Is that
We're going back
on the river there? Or you got the boat behind you.
Yeah, I think that's at the lagoon. That's one of the lagoons there.
Are you commercial fishing, right?
No, I would say it was probably hauling gear up and down the river for building the buildings.
Yeah, the sunsets must just
We have unbelievable sunsets, and they last for hours and hours and hours. You know, it depends on what time of year it is and stuff. But in June and July, it's sun is shining at 1 o'clock.
Now that you got your 10G network or whatever it is, you got to put up a sunset cam.
I probably should.
Live on your website. That'd be awesome,
maybe I'll have to do that.
Pretty cool.
Sunset cam, fishing cam, like where people are lined up fishing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
All these thoughts, right?
It's pretty cool up
I
there.
have a question.
Question?
John Bonnell's he's wondering how many pounds the moose are, the bulls.
I
don't know if you meant your picture because it was after.
What's an average?
I'll just say they're big, but he's got.
They're big. I'm going to say the amount of meat, and I normally debone them, is around 650 pounds.
Oh, after you
no bones,
Yeah.
And then your cape is going to be somewhere around maybe 100 or so, and the head is going to be somewhere close to 100 head in the rack.
1,200 pounds, you think?
No, then you got all the bones. Add those in there. It's about, I think it's around 16 to 2,000.
Yeah. Moly.
They're just giant.
Keep in mind too, like if you've been around I'm assuming everybody's been around at least one horse or at some point.
They're bigger than a horse.
Your head is at their leg is as big as you are. I mean, the body starts you could probably walk underneath it. At some of these things, that's how big they are. I mean, cars drive under them.
They're giant. Yeah, they're giant. They're giant.
Yeah, I mean,
for people around here, how much bigger would you relate like an elk?
I'm going to say it's 3 elk.
3 elk.
Yeah, 3 elk, yeah.
And a big elk is huge, too.
Yeah.
Massive. Yeah. Here's a moose right here.
Here's a big ball.
Oh, yeah. This one here, I remember the hunter that shot it, and we went over. It was down on all fours, and we had to walk around this lake. And we get around the lake, and it had three cows with it, small, medium, and large one. And we're trying to get to the bull. And the cows all have their ears back, their hair's all up. They're like pissed. They don't want us over there. So we knock the bull down. It's done. And so the middle-sized cow, it kind of moves off, on the other side of the bull, and it's feeding and stuff. And I'm like, okay, we'll be able to get to the bull shortly. And then the big cow, she moves over by the middle one, by the medium-sized one, right? The little one's just still standing there, ears back, hair's up. And she walks over by that one, and it was the most unbelievable thing. I wish I would have had my video going. She came up sideways to it, and she was right next to it, and because it was not staying in line, it left the line. And she comes right over next to it, and she pushes off with her front, and she's standing on her back legs way up high, and she cocked her hands, and when she came down, she goes, boom, in the side of the mid-sized one. And that thing just flew sideways, maybe 8 or 10 feet. And it finally got it stuck together. And then all of a sudden it turned and it walked right over by the little one, stood right back in line. And then the cow came and they stood right back in line. Unbelievable.
That's what you call pecking order?
Pecking order.
Yeah, big time.
Yes. She's like, you stay here. And, I saw a lot of things like that.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable.
I mean, that must have broke a rib.
It had to have broken ribs.
It would break us in half.
It would kill you.
I was going to say, it'd probably kill you.
It had to have broken ribs. It had to hurt so bad.
Little life lesson that one got.
Yeah. It definitely got a lesson.
Badge it up and then boom. Yeah. Wow. Crazy.
Crazy. Just massive, and they're so big, I think their eyes are right at 10 foot off the ground.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's like standing up.
Standing up, yeah. Wow. And then the rack is above that, But it's really weird is how they can just hide so easy. They're just gone, gone.
So here we got another one here. That's a big one.
Yeah.
That must be the thing. You gotta sit in.
Size of the rack.
You gotta sit in the rack.
Yeah.
To show the size.
I kind of like sitting in the rack. It's kind of nice, and they're just so massive, you know. And they're just giant.
There's what do we got coming up here next? Oh, look at this! Wow.
Oh, that bear. That was a big bear.
Bear. Is that so? Is this 1,200 pounds? What are we? 800? I'm
not going to say for sure. I'm going to say I'm going to say at the right time of year that bear would be probably 1,000 pounds or so.
Okay, so I wasn't too far off.
Yeah, that was a tricky bear there. That one is a big old boar that actually got in the Boone and Crockett book. The two brothers that they came up and took that, but we spent the night, all night out one night to get that bear. And we finally got back to camp, and it was an ordeal.
So now so this fridge, that guy was asking about how much these animals weigh.
Yeah.
Is that a half an animal? What's in there?
That's part of one of the moose.
That's that's the makeshift meat cooler
there.
there.
So the guy that had the comment, that's part of the meat.
That's part of the meat. Yeah. Yeah, and that's a freezer. And then I have a little generator, a little Honda 2000 generator. And I put it in a boat, and I usually take a couple boats, and I go all the way across the lake, it's a 60-mile long lake, which is a long ways. And then I like to set up that because I bring a lot of food with us in case we get stranded over there. Plus, you can also cool the meat down and freeze it up. Yeah. And we usually have an airplane come pick it up.
Wow. That's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
So, looks like you're in Mexico here.
That is Mexico, yeah.
You got
a Dorado there.
Dorado,
yeah, we were out fishing. Mahi Dorado. We're out fishing. I'm telling you what, it was crazy fishing day. I'm kind of hyper, so I got kind of tired after like 15, 20 fish. And my friend Frank is like, George, we're staying out here. And I'm like, okay. Anyway, so I remember hooking on one of the bait, and all you had to do is hook on a bait and throw it in the water, and the fish was on it, okay?
Wow.
So I hooked this one on, and I threw it out there, and no fish. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? Well, I hooked it through the head and killed it. So it wasn't flopping. Oh. So I finally realized it, so I pulled it in, got another one on there, flipped it out there, and boom, fish on.
Hand lining it?
Yeah. It was, I cast it out. I just flipped it out. Yeah. They were just, they were thick.
Those taste so good.
We're starting to see them more in the Northwest.
Really?
I mean, yeah.
Hopefully not this year, because we don't want them this far.
Last year, I think there's actually quite a few, Dorados caught in the Northwest.
Really? That's amazing.
I mean, I love going out tuna fishing. That's like the pinnacle for me.
That's a long ways out,
Yeah. So this is this out on another hunt?
Yeah, this is actually on a moose hunt. This is up the King Salmon River. We were hunting up there. Actually, I think we were fishing on that trip, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But do you do fish hunt, or is it just a fish strip, or just a hunt?
Yeah, we do fish hunt trips.
You bring the rods with you anyway.
Yeah, we bring rods and we have bait and stuff. But we usually, when we're on a hunting trip, we usually do some fishing. Everyone likes to have fresh fish, right?
Oh, gosh,
Catch a silver out there.
So here's one of the commercial boats
that
you run, right?
Yeah, that's a commercial net we got there. And
Coho.
No, there'll probably be sockeye.
Oh,
almost all sockeye. Yeah,
gotcha.
It's crazy. Some years up there, it's just. I mean, I've had days before where it's open for 10-hour fishery, and you catch like 40,000 pounds, 50,000 pounds. Remember one day, I think it was 05. We had I don't remember how many pounds it was, 40 or 50,000, and it closed for like 2 hours, and it opened back up. We were just amazed that we got that many fish, and then it swamped again. Usually it doesn't happen like that. Usually it's only one tide, or the peak on sockeye come in at a real high peak, and then it drops right off. But that thing spread out for a long time.
They're here, and then they're there.
Yeah.
So this was.
Yeah, they spread out. Yeah, there's another net at night. Yeah, we had a thing. It was we should have already had our nets pulled. It was high tide, but we couldn't get our nets in because this one net just filled up, and so we're trying to get it in, and you can't get it in, so you can't get the next one, and the next one. All the nets were just absolutely plugged.
Well, it's good and it's bad.
I remember seeing one of the guys. He's standing down by the water, and there's massive work to do. And he's already been working a lot, and he's just out there, and he's just looking out, thinking, when is this going to be over?
The 24-hour shift begins.
Yes, yeah.
What time is it? It's light for 2 hours, but it's still dark.
It's dusky for about 2 or 3 hours or so, in the June area, Other than that, the sun, I saw the sun setting at 1:30 at night, it's still up there, It's just amazing.
Crazy. So you're going to be at the show. You already got. Actually, you go to a lot of shows. You did the Puyallup, Portland. I know you went to Denver.
I did
one
Sacramento
year.
last year. We're just going to do 2 shows this year.
Okay, but you went to Denver a couple of years
No,
ago.
no, I haven't went to Denver. I went to the Sacramento. I should go to Denver probably, but we don't need that many clients, and so I'm just going to go to 2 different shows this
main
year.
3.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And we're giving out a free trip. We have an online thing on Facebook. Plus,
Yeah, so he's got 2 trips that he's giving away. Now, granted, sadly, if you live in the Midwest and you're watching, which I think that one guy might have been that had the question, you can obviously you can't come to the show, but you can go online to his website, and it's Becharof.com, right?
Becharof.
Oh no, that's
Becharof Fishing Lodge.
.com.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can go there and sign up for the free trip, or if you're here in town, the show is going on starting tomorrow through Sunday, and if you come by his booth, you can also sign up for the trip at his booth. I'm not sure. Do you know what number you are, or which building? Which building are you in?
We're in the furthest away. It's like a 1400.
On the far left,
yeah,
right. Which is where most of the hunting and fishing lodges are.
Yes.
Actually. So,
yeah.
So left side of the building, but if you get your what do you call it, the brochure with the map, you can look him up, find the number, and go straight.
Tony,
there.
you should know by heart. How many of these have you been into?
I don't even know what booth we're in. I was trying to look it up so I could say it tonight, but we're in the old building. But on the far right, in the main aisle, I know that much. But
we're over by the casting area. The fly fishermen are over there. Yeah, that's where we're at.
I know exactly where you are.
That's where you used to be.
Yeah. Clacker Crap was against the wall, and the horse. They got the horse. Is the horse in there? Well, I guess I'll find out tomorrow.
It'd be there was a longhorn one year.
Yeah.
They had like a longhorn
from Idaho.
Yeah.
I don't remember next to us. I think so. But so we're not done. You did a podcast with Lucas maybe a year or 2 ago. Oh, hold on. Let's do a location first. We got a map here, and we can kind of show the location of the lodge, which is right there.
And then Kodiak.
That's a pretty big spot.
That's a big spot, but you can see Kodiak there, the island just to the right.
Right. Yeah.
And then the lodge is actually really easy to find. We're on the 2nd largest lake, which is called Becharof Lake, and we're just downriver a couple miles from the outlet.
Okay.
And there's only 2 lodges on the river.
So
it's fairly easy.
We got you to the general spot, but bring it up and you can look just like he's saying by the lake, right?
We're down 2nd largest lake, downriver a couple miles.
So you had a bear story for Lucas, and we're not going to do the bear story because he already did the bear story.
You got to go to the podcast.
Yeah, go to the Salmon, Trout, Steelheader website and click on podcasts, and you can go find that bear story.
Lucas actually said it in the comments, I think.
Oh, okay, cool.
Thank you, Lucas.
Yeah, shout out Lucas.
Thanks, Lucas.
And Lucas went up and fished. Maybe 2 years ago.
I think
or was it 3 now? 2.
Isn't there a video?
There's like 2. I think we got at least 2 videos that we did. I think, right? And so you can go to the podcast on our salmontroutsteelheader.com and listen to this other bear story. You can go to our YouTube page, and I think you can type Scott Haugen or I'm not saying Becharof, and then there's at least 2 videos.
I think there's a couple.
And then he has a bunch of videos on your website too that kind of show the lay of the land and the buildings and everything. But we want to hear a new story. What's
the craziest experience you've ever had?
You got any holes in you? Or you been
How about a boating story?
There we go. I like
a sinking boating story.
Oh gosh,
here we go.
I have nightmares about that. Isn't that funny? That my boat...
I've sank out in the ocean. Well, I didn't, but I was close. That's a different story. But
that's more dangerous than mine. So this one starts out. We're up on the King Salmon River, and we were moose hunting, and we actually had that 4-wheeler and a moose in the boat, 3 guys, and we get ready to get in the boat, and I asked David. I said, "Where are the life jackets?" And he said, I put them down underneath, George. I said, no. Life jackets are coming out, right? They need to be on top so we have access to them, right? So anyway, it's blowing around 25 or 30, and we're on a pretty protected river, the King Salmon, and we're coming down river. And we're overloaded, and I'm not going to go down very far. I'm going to drop my stuff before we get down into the big river, okay? So we get down below, and we're coming down, and everything's good. And I get a hold of the outfitter, and he says, yeah, come on around. It's flat. Well, I knew it'd be flat until the tide flipped. Oh. Because the water's going to be going out then, and the wind was coming in. That's when it's going to be rough. And I think I'm going to make it, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't. I came around the corner. It was all flat. And as soon as I came around the corner, boom, I got, 3-foot waves coming at me. And I'm really tight on the beach. And so they're going to get me. So I turn into the waves. And now I'm going to get too far away from shore. So I'm like,
you either take the waves or go to shore. I got you.
Yeah, and so I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to take the waves. I'm turning in. So I turned in, and within 5 seconds, boom, one wave hit, and it just came right over the bow. And we have like 2 feet of water in the boat, a foot of water in the boat, and all of a sudden, instantly, it was second wave, boom, third wave, done, and we sunk. But we had a 4-wheeler in there and all of our stuff. And I figured it was around $30,000 worth of guns, 4-wheelers, camping gear and everything. And it was just pretty much floating. The wind's blowing 30 miles an hour that way. The tide's going that way. The boat is on the ground, but I had all life jackets there. We had life jackets on. And it was only like, I'm going to say 30 feet or 40 feet or something like that till you could actually stand up. So it really.
The boat, was it like 5 feet deep?
I'm going to say it was about 7 feet deep where the boat was at.
So you couldn't stand up.
You couldn't stand up, but you could sit on top of the 4-wheeler when the boat's on the bottom.
That helped, right?
Well, David was.
Hold on, I'm going to stand on the 4-wheeler.
Yeah, David stayed in the boat. Yeah. All its other ones went to shore, and it wasn't really that scary because we were so close to shore. Okay. But
oh gosh, if you would have come
if I would have stayed with the waves out there, and then I tried to come in, now it's a totally different situation. Yeah, everyone's life is in danger. Where we were out, it really wasn't that much danger, But it wasn't that much.
It sank the boat though.
Sank the boat. Yeah, we got everything back, but a couple little things. We were missing a rack for the top of the stove and a couple of little things, and we had to wait for the tide to go down, and so. We had to go a different route to get all the way around it because most of our stuff had blown up that way.
Yeah, how far are you from the lodge?
Yeah. That was it was probably 20 miles from the lodge, but I'm not very far from what we call the lower lodge.
Oh,
that was a half a mile or something.
So you had access to.
Yeah, and I've got guys on shore. They're waiting for us to come around, so they're right there. So it really wasn't that dangerous, but it was a little bit scary.
So I got to ask you. In your gearhead, I'm a gearhead. Were you able to get the 4-wheeler and the kicker motor,
everything
motor started back up?
I've done so many of those that it's just like
take the plugs, spin it,
take the plugs out, put water in it, rinse it off, rinse off everything with fresh water, unplug all the connectors, everything, let it all dry.
It fired right up.
She fires right up. Yeah.
Gosh, isn't that amazing? You just think, it's lost.
It's gone.
I've done that so many times. I can't even count how many times. How many motors I've brought back to life being in the water.
Yeah. So never feel like that's it for the motor or whatever it is that sank.
No, you can get
it up and dry it out.
Yeah, it's better to do it right away.
Oh rust. Yeah.
And if you're in clear water, then it's better than where we commercial fish at it's sandy and there's a lot of silt in the water. Yeah. And so that gets into the oil system and stuff. But you can still put gas in it, rinse it all out, rinse it out again, and just keep on rinsing and stuff.
Or even like, let's say you can't get to it for a while, pull the plugs and just pull it and spin the motor with the transmission.
You could, but if it's got salt water in it, then it's kind of,
Well, yeah.
And then it's going to be rusting. It's going to be rusting fairly
It's going to be a lot harder.
Yeah.
So
what do you do?
A lot of time though. I mean, it's like a whole day probably. Getting all this. It's more than a whole day.
It's a day.
Yeah, it's a day. Dry out.
So I got a story with a sow and 3 cubs. So we're hunting bear, And I see the sow and 3 cubs. And we're in a spot where there's a bunch of islands. They're small islands, but there's about maybe 100 of them or more. And we got kind of an upper area where we're like elevated a couple 100 feet so we can see all around. And she's in and she's getting eggs off these islands. And she's got her cubs following her and she's showing them how to get the eggs off the islands and stuff, right?
Some kind of bird.
Yeah, birds, yeah, seagulls and stuff, lots of seagull eggs up there. So she's walking around showing them how to do it. Pretty soon, she tells them to stay on this island. And so there's 3 of them. 2 of them, I'm pretty sure, were females. They were both sitting there just minding their own business on the thing. And then the other one, I think he's a male. And he's jumping all around. He's just going out. So mom's off, getting eggs, and she's down there a ways, she's probably 100 yards away or a couple 100 yards away. And the little guy, he's over there. He's like trying to get the 2 girls to come with him, come on. And so he's just jumping all around. Finally, they're like, let's go. And so they all jump in the water and they take off running. And they're going to run around this thing, And she looks up. We see her look up and she just looks up like, okay. And she's still feeding on eggs and stuff. And pretty soon she looks up again and she's still feeding. Pretty soon she's like, okay, I'll go. So she starts walking, and maybe a little bit of a faster walk, and she's walking to get to the cubs, and they're, maybe 200 or 300 yards away. Anyway, they kind of go behind this hill, and I don't really see them anymore, right? And then they come out the other side.
Does mom see him?
Oh, yeah, mom's on him. She's on him.
Because if she loses sight and you guys are around.
Oh, no. And we were quite a ways away, though. So anyway, they come around that hill. Mom is in the lead, and she is just running. And right behind her, not too far behind her, is the little boy one. And then the other 2 girls are back behind that. And I see mom, she's looking and she turns around, to look that they're all there. And she just gets on it again. And she ran for, I'm going to say about 5 miles, and they just followed her the whole distance all the way across,
Wow. That's amazing.
Just running after,
And the little ones were able to.
They were just following right behind them, Yeah.
Gosh, that's amazing.
It's amazing. 3 cubs.
Little ones, yeah.
Yeah. They lots of times get killed by the boars. Very, very common. It has to do with competition. Later on, when they grow up, they don't have to worry about that one competing because they killed it when it was a baby.
Yeah, and lions do that too, right?
Yeah. And then there's probably something to do also with breeding, If she's got cubs with her, she's probably not going to come back into heat. And if he kills them, then, they're probably going to come back into heat.
Are the males territorial with a certain range?
Yeah, probably kind of. But, you'll have other males in there and they'll fight and, they'll kill each other, We had one, we were on a hunt one time and bear hunting and a smaller bear had been killed, like a teenager type bear had been killed on the coast, from one of the bears. With a big male bear. Didn't want to competing. No competition if it's dead, right?
Yeah.
Only the strong survive.
Only the strong survive. Mm-hmm. Yeah, at the lodge, we mainly fish for coho, but we do have some Arctic char and some grayling there too,
Yeah, actually, most of this is for the fishing.
Yeah.
And so, the coho is what they're doing. That's where it's at, right?
Yeah.
And the coho, I'm assuming they come in late August or.
Yeah, they come in late July. Late July. Yeah, okay. They come in late July. And the peak is, I'm going to say, towards the center of August, but you never know if it's going to be front or back. And then I kind of prefer fishing towards late August and into September because the coho are bigger at that time. Yeah. There's probably less of them, but they're bigger, and I think that's a little bit more fun than at the beginning. There's more of them, but smaller ones, or whatever. But
and then you're also telling us that the beads, like you only had so many beads, and the fish were just hammering them. And you're literally taking like little
pieces of
bits and pieces and re-sticking them on and fishing them more. And
we had one coho. We it had the bead in its mouth, right, the 32, and then it had 2 32s inside its stomach.
Oh, really?
I think we have a picture of it even. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. They're aggressive.
I'll start running a 32 if it works.
Yeah. I'm telling you what, that's ones I like.
For coho.
We call the Chinook. Yeah.
Right. So, Scott Haugen was up there and he had, I remember one year he said he had 5 cameras and it was day number 2 or 3 and he said, George, I'm down to three cameras. I already lost one. He was fishing up at the lake, and he's got on the line. It's when so he can see, you know, what's going on, and you know he can watch fish hitting his line and stuff. And anyway, it broke off. So and he had a fish on, and it broke off. So it's gone, right? Well, about 2 days later, we're on the river, and a boat comes by, one of the other lodge, and he's like, "You guys missing a camera?" We're like,
Somebody got it.
"Yeah." So anyway, that cohoid went all the way up to the lake, and then it came down the lake, and it was in the lagoon, you know, where they actually caught it at. Wow. And so they caught the fish. It had bait in its mouth, and it was dragging Scott's camera with it. So we got Scott's camera, and he, you know, did his thing to see all the film in there and all the fish.
I was going to say, you got his camera, and you got like 10 hours of video.
Yeah.
I was swimming back from
before
the
the
down.
battery died.
That was amazing, you know?
Yeah, that's
amazing.
Doesn't happen very often, I'm assuming.
Yeah, not very often. We do quite a few flyouts also for grayling and char. You know, we have quite a few different creeks we can go to for those. You know?
Wow, that sounds. I mean, honestly, it sounds like a blast.
It's a blast.
It's beautiful. The sunsets.
Yeah, and the bears. You really don't have to worry about the bears. You know, I mean, you shouldn't have some kid walking around by themselves, some small kid. You know, and they might even start running, and the bear's going to go, "Oh, I'm going to run after them." You know, but.
You know, you can't let a small kid walk out on Mount Hood. So
no, and you shouldn't let one walk down to Portland either. Okay?
That's one of my favorite jokes is what would you rather do? Walk on a trail on Mount Hood at night or walk through downtown Portland?
I'd rather Mount Hood.
All day long. Be for me.
All day long.
That's, you know, think
All day
about
long.
that, right?
Yeah.
Humans are the worst.
Yeah, the bears, we just control the bears with our voice mainly. You know, you just yell at them, come shaking your arms, and you start yelling at them, and unless it's a big old boar, it's just going to turn and run. It's going to be afraid.
Yeah, and it sounds like where you're at, there's plenty of food for the bears.
Yeah, they don't
I know some of the islands, right? The bears can get a little grumpy because of the food situation.
There's a lot of fish
But you
around.
got,
And the coast. They go down the coast a lot and actually eat the like dead animals that are washed up on the coast and stuff.
Yeah, any place where there's food available, the bears really, you're not on the list. Essentially, you go to a glacier where the grizzlies are, and they're kind of scrounging, and they see you and you're juicy, you're on the list. So yeah, or the interior of BC, they get kind of nasty. I know the black bears do. But in general, yeah, you don't really got to worry about it.
You don't really have to worry about
Alaska.
it. I remember a couple of years ago, I'm the only one there, and I had some waste food. And it was in 5-gallon buckets. And I had it outside the lodge, but it's inside a covered area there. It's just up the steps. And I'm the only one there. And so I go to sleep, and the next morning I wake up, and I go out there, and the 2 buckets, one of them was completely ate, right, and tipped over and stuff, but gone. And there was a path that the bear had dug underneath the electric fence. And I'm going to say, and I got pictures of it, it was somewhere around 4 to 5 feet wide and 3 to 4 feet deep. Wow. And what had happened, it was a sow, and the cub had got underneath my electric fence and was eating the food. And because I could tell by the tracks. And then Mom dug underneath the electric fence to get in there, you know, and so she ate a bunch of it. And then bears, they never go back out the same way they came in. If they break into your building.
So he dug another hole?
No, he just went right through the fence. Right on the road, just broke the fence down and just right through the fence.
Yeah, only lasts for a few seconds.
Yeah.
Buzzed right through it.
I know there's this one building down where we commercial fish at, and he has a freezer that sits against the wall. And he had this electric fence, but he didn't do a very good job putting it up. Anyway, the bear came in, ripped the wall out, grabbed the freezer
from behind,
could smell where the candy was at in the freezer.
He knew what an electric fence was. So.
And he just ripped the freezer out, dumped it out, and then he was eating Snickers, and so there were piles of Snickers shit all over the place. You know, all kinds of wrappers, and I got pictures to prove it. You know,
that is funny. Bear, you're right. They're smart.
They're smart.
They are smart.
And their sense of smell is just amazing. And people say that they can't see very well. They can see very well. I think they can see as good as a human. Okay,
I would agree.
They don't
I
look
would
at you.
agree.
Yeah, they don't look at you. When you're standing over there, if it was a something else, it would turn and look at you. Bears don't do that. They just keep walking. But their vision, their peripheral vision is like way back. And so they're looking at you, even though they're walking straight and they didn't change stride or anything, but they still can see you. They're watching you. Yeah.
Well, and they prey on themselves, like you're saying. So if a big male's coming at a smaller male, he's going to want to know what's happening over here.
Yeah, and he's going to take off. He's probably going to get chomped on, you know.
You know, I got to say, like going to Alaska, like, you know, you've been up there for years doing the lodge and working and stuff. But if you've never been to Alaska, it's like a trip that stays with you your entire life.
I'm ready, T. Sign me up.
You never been there?
Never been.
Maybe you should come up. Put your name in for the free trip.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll get drawn.
I'll give it away.
The scenery, the wildlife,
The fishing.
the fishing.
The birds. In May,
Yeah.
it's just freaking ridiculous. Thousands and thousands of birds, you know.
Do you get some bird watchers that just...
Not too many. I mean, there's some, I've seen them down on the coast and stuff, but up at the lodge, I usually don't see any bird watchers, you know.
I'm getting older. I actually like birds now. Maybe not crows, but pretty cool birds. You go downtown Portland, you can see like 10,000 birds in one spot. I don't know what that's all about. But,
Really?
Oh gosh, they're like all over the place. I mean, it's like if one of them was smart enough to say attack, I mean, they would take you out. It wouldn't. I mean, seriously.
Well, there's a movie like that. Remember the birds?
No, I know, but I mean, if they could just
You call it attack pigeons?
No, the crows.
Oh, the crows.
The crows. If they were just a little, and they're smart. They're smart birds.
Crows are really smart.
But
Crows are really
if they
smart.
actually all got. I mean, imagine 1,000 crows on top of you. You would not. They'd get your eyes. Yeah.
It would not be good.
No, it
Not be good at all.
They'd get you. But anyway, so if you can make it to Alaska, do a trip up there. I've only
Book
been
a trip with George.
I've only been a handful of times, and I can remember each time the things that happened, the scenery, I don't know. Is there any mountain ranges out where you're at?
Yeah, we got lots of mountains. We got Mount Pulik. We got mountains all around us and snow on them. And
I mean, it's just
incredible.
It's like a real panoramic picture all the way around. I mean, I wish I could explain it better, but
And the fishing's good.
Yeah, the
fishing's
fishing's
incredible.
good.
It's incredible.
But it's like you were saying though, it's the whole experience. Obviously, you want to catch fish and have a good time, but
It's the whole thing.
Yeah, it's the whole experience. And meeting some different people that are from maybe not even from the United States. I'm assuming you get some people from other countries, foreigners.
Yeah, and I really like it when they come up and unplug. Because most of the time people are emailing constantly, and that's how they really relax is not using the internet. But
now you got Wi-Fi with that.
I know.
Maybe you could just lie.
Well, you know what I did when I first hooked it up? I put on an Epson, 2610, so people thought it was a printer. And it worked really well, but you know what? I got the internet. They can use it if they want.
Now you come back from fishing and the Simpsons are on.
Yeah.
Family Guy.
Yeah, and they want to send, no, we don't have TV, but they want to send pictures home and everything, which is fine. It does take away from it though. It really does.
Yeah, that when you're isolated, like no cell phone. Like we were at a cabin that had a satellite phone, but it was only for a certain time of day, emergencies. Like you don't just get on the satellite phone because I think that's on the minutes, right? You pay like so much a month and then they ding you for the rest. But yeah, it is a little different, being totally isolated. But I mean, honestly, just because you got Wi-Fi doesn't mean you're not isolated.
You're still isolated. You're still isolated.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of nowhere. We're only about 45 miles away from Katmai National Park, too. That's the number one bear viewing area in the world, And it's incredible. I've been there a lot of times, I think it was 2 years ago. Scott was had his cam on it, and he said there was, I believe it was 63 bears at one time there.
Wow.
You know,
63.
63. I've saw 20
spot
some.
where the little waterfall.
Yeah, the waterfall.
And
Yeah.
the bears come up and hug everybody, and you feed them popcorn.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
Okay, maybe not that. Maybe you can feed the fish the popcorn.
Well, you better not be feeding anything to anything.
Yeah.
They'll be gobbling on
Just
you.
watch.
Just
watch.
walk out with some dead fish on a stick.
Well, you can fish there, and if a bear gets your fish, it's an automatic ticket.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like $5. It used to be $500. It's probably more than that now, but automatic ticket because you trained it. You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have a little story. We're getting in here pretty deep, but that's okay because we're having fun. So I was, or actually, I heard about this. I wasn't there, but there was somebody that was poaching. Imagine that. And anyway, they're down under this bridge, and they were catching salmon and just filling like a couple coolers with the salmon. And apparently, a fish and game guy like saw what was happening, but he just pulled up on the other side of the bridge and just sat in his truck. And I think somebody saw what was going on, and they're walking past the guy and the ranger, whatever. And he says, "Hey, these guys are poaching. They're poaching over here. You go get them." And he says, "Just wait. Just give it a few more minutes," because there is a bear that lives right next to that spot. And all of a sudden, the two guys come running up to the road, and then he goes and pulls up and busts them.
Just wait. Just wait.
Good.
They'll teach them a little bit of a lesson. Anyway, I thought that was pretty funny. But it totally could happen. Probably does happen even when you're not poaching. So got to be careful. And always drop your fish. You know, they're walking. Just let them have it, right?
Yeah.
Keep the backpack. Lose the fish.
Lose the fish. Yeah, we don't allow any illegal stuff, even though we're so remote.
Yeah, no.
You would think that we could, hook one wrong and keep it or whatever. But I'll tell you what happens. The cops are so on top of it. They have binoculars. They land in places that we can't see them land, and they watch. And so it has to be 100% legal.
Yeah,
you know what?
no,
It's just, I had a customer a few years ago. He was so mad because we didn't keep a illegal fish. You know what? And just yelling and stuff. And I'm like, it's not happening. I'm not doing it.
Don't take the chance.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. There's cops all around, and they're going to see it.
Yeah, and those
That's what integrity's for.
Well, and those regulations are there to protect the runs and the numbers, and so imagine if everybody started doing that.
There wouldn't be any more fish.
Yeah, exactly.
We're already at that point.
Yeah.
Well,
down here, not up there.
Not in Alaska.
Not Alaska, but down here.
It's very regulated up there. They make sure they get the right amount for escapement up there.
Yeah.
It used to be 700,000 to 1.2 on the sockeye getting them up there, and now the minimum is like 1 million, and they always get like way over. They could counting it at like 1.5 or 1.7.
So maybe this is digging a little too deep, but the fish that you catch commercially, do you know where they end up, like Costco or
Yeah,
Safeway
pretty much. Yeah, I'm gonna say they go all over, and we saw it too. There's many different companies that do it, but the Japanese really like the fish, sockeye. Sockey's a little bit drier,
Well, that's good.
It's good. It's good. It's good.
Red meat.
Yeah. And then the eggs, the roe from the sockeye, that's very valuable to them,
Yeah.
Japanese love that. They have rooms that, they got hairnets on, and it's an absolutely clean room, and they're taking they brine the eggs and clean them and put them in these containers, to be shipped and salt them up.
Do they do sushi from it too, or is that? I mean, you're still in salt water.
Yeah, I don't know if they make sushi or just eat them or whatever, but
usually it's probably Chinook. I would assume,
but they love the sockeye eggs. Yeah.
If you try it, I don't know. The eggs really aren't that bad.
They're not bad. I eat them almost every year. I ate some.
Yeah, and you can cook them too, and they get a little solid.
I'll be cleaning the fish, and I'll grab some eggs. Just say some kid will be watching me or something. I'll say, try these, and I'll eat some of them.
And then he's like,
and they're like, and then they might eat one,
And then he's like, wow, little salt, tiny bit of salt, maybe.
Yeah, they're fine. Maybe they're good.
It's really like caviar. They're just larger. They got good for you, right? Vitamin D.
Don't knock it until you try it.
Honestly, if you put them in rice and just loose eggs, it's actually pretty good. I haven't done it lately, but I mean, don't knock it till you try it. Really, I mean, that's really what I would say.
One of my favorite things to do is when we're fishing up there, I'll show up with the stove and all this stuff, and I'll make blackened salmon right on there with them. Bring them a paper towel, piece of hunk of salmon while they're fishing, and they'll be eating on it. I will eat that. I don't eat much salmon, but I will eat that like that, fresh like that. I can eat it, and it's good.
The coho. I mean, the coho. The meat is so red, and like we will barbecue, catch a fish at that place I was at, and just barbecue one of the fish right there that day. And you really don't have to do a whole lot to it.
No,
the
you don't.
flavor is so good, and they're just coming out of this, or they're kind of still in the salt water if the tide's coming in, I guess.
Still got a lot of fat on them.
Oh gosh, yeah. They're just,
Our fish have lice on them. Lots of lice on them.
Yeah, I mean,
and seal marks, seal scratches.
Yeah, I mean, we're there where you're fishing, is they might as well be in the ocean.
It is. It's very close.
Salt's coming in and out. Yeah. So they're really not even in or made that change to fresh water at that point.
It's usually one tide. They'll come up on the same tide. Not that far.
So if you get a chance, you should go. Make a point. Actually go to the show, sign up for the free trip, and you can go to his website, which is
BecharoffFishing.com.
And you can also sign up there if you can't make it to the show.
Are you on any other social media platforms?
Yeah.
Instagram,
Facebook.
Facebook.
Yep. Instagram, both of them.
So I want to thank George for coming tonight. Actually, I got to mention a few other things. We got a subscription deal going on with some B&R beads and some Kershaw scissors right here. So if you go to SalmonTroutSteelheader.com, you can subscribe and get this. And also, actually, we got some more images here. We got to go back to the director, Lindsay, the director. So there's a new video that I just shot last week with Chris and his son Gabe on the North Umpqua.
How was it?
It was good. You know, I've only driven that section of the river, and it's the Umpqua it's very rugged. It's not like sand and gravel bottoms and smooth. Like, you know, if you're gonna wade and fish, you know, you definitely don't want to be like an old man with crutches. I mean, it's like serious business, you know. And a lot of the guys know that do fish it regularly. They know where the rocks are. They know where to step. You know, you just as you fish a spot over and over again, you just know all those spots, especially the fly fishermen that are wading out. So it's and another neat thing right now is the hills are green. I mean, you know, beautiful. A lot of time people go to that area in the summertime and the grass has kind of died off and it's brown, which is still pretty. Don't get me wrong, but it's almost like you're in Switzerland or Norway or something with this green,
the big rolling hills,
flowing grass. I mean, I was gonna start singing that song from that movie back in the '60s. We're old enough to know that. With
I wouldn't have
the sound of music type scenery. You see, you guys, he knows what I'm talking about.
I have no idea.
Anyway, that's too much. That's TMI, right? Anyway, that's kind of what it looks like, though. And it's just beautiful. And we caught, I think we got 4 steelhead, one really nice trout. It was like 16, 17 inches, you know, pretty good sized. And we got a sucker, or a golden dorado. That's what I call him.
The golden dorado.
But no, it was a great time. And if you get a chance, you can go watch the video. It's up right now. I just posted it earlier today, and it seems to be doing really well. I should probably give you some of those, right? Not that size.
I mean, it's no 32.
You gotta tie all. You gotta put.
You can melt it together.
You gotta put those on a spawn sack.
Yeah.
Make a big ball.
Well, most of my guys, they don't like the bigger ones, but I tell you what, they work really well.
Oh,
I felt they worked very good. You know, these B&R, they're good.
He knows what he's doing.
Definitely.
Brandon is the man. Maybe I can hook you up, or you probably already know Brandon. Yeah, you probably.
I mean, he's making them 32.
You're probably. He's already on the payroll for being our probably. Anyway, so something else that's going on. So we got the new video on the North Umpqua, and then at the show, James is going to have a couple of people. I can't see, but I know what it says. If you spend $19.95 or more at the booth during the show, you will be entered for free to go fishing with James and myself.
Mm.
And it'll be springer fishing, probably somewhere in the Portland area, and depending on.
We'll follow the fish if it's really good somewhere.
Yeah, some place, and then and so we're gonna have 2 winners, and then you can bring a friend with you, and then we'll do lunch, and you gotta make sure and bring your license with you. We'll have all the gear on board, and we'll go springer fishing.
Come have a good time.
Yeah, so come by our booth. Go by George's booth.
You could win 2 free trips.
You can go springer fishing.
Pretty
you can
good.
go to Alaska. I mean, it almost sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? And actually, I don't know. Probably not. I don't know how many people sign up, but the odds are way better than doing Keno or Powerball.
Oh, way better.
Way better. Like,
I mean, our
billions.
trip is just for the sportsman show.
Yeah,
It's just Wednesday
that's it.
through Sunday.
Yeah,
After that, it's no more.
that's it. So,
And I think George is that the same way for you.
Yep.
Wednesday through Sunday.
Yep. Wednesday through Sunday.
So if somebody wants to sit in the aisle and count how many people sign up, then they'll know the odds.
The odds would be in the favor.
right?
I think not only that, just come by and say hi.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, definitely come by and say hi. James is going to be there every day.
Wednesday
My
through Sunday.
Goodness, I'm not even going to show up. I'm there. I've been there since.
Me and Randy will hold it down.
I couldn't even see over this. That's how long I've been going to that place.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you remember the first?
I go back so far. Let me think. No, the 2 other buildings weren't even there. The newer buildings. Mm-hmm. So the long building where the kind of the old main entrance is where everything was, just in that one building. And then that second building over literally was like a rodeo. It would have dirt in it sometimes, and they would have a rodeo, or I don't know. What do you do when you catch? I'm not a cowboy guy, so wrestling, roping. Anyway, so that's how far I go back. The little fish tank in the back goes back to those days. So I mean, we're going back to the 70s. And so if you can imagine, it was just that one building. That next building and it had seating around it and dirt in the center. I mean, it sounds, you can see it. Anyway.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago. That's cool, though, that it's still going on. The show's still going on from back then.
So now I don't even know how many square.
It's huge.
It's the biggest show this side of the Mississippi for sports fishing. So
that's big.
Yeah, and it's huge. It is. It really is big. So make sure and come, and lots of cool stuff going on, and come see us. So I guess that ends it for tonight. We went a good hour and a half, but you know what? As long as we're having fun and talking about fun stuff.
Thanks for the stories, George.
And we got
welcome.
And we got to go to Alaska.
I felt like I was there, and I haven't even gone yet.
I got a lot more stories.
Exactly. Hey, maybe you could sign up for the thing.
You can sign up for it. Go online. Facebook. Facebook.
I'll just start writing it on every ticket just so I know I get it.
Yeah, hey, if you do that and win, you got to give it to somebody.
Also, check out the podcast again with Lucas.
Podcast.
Doing a
because honestly, the bear story that he tells Lucas is amazing. I mean, when you hear what goes down, pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And like I said, we don't want to repeat it here, so you got to go to the podcast on the website. I guess that's it. Thanks,
See you at the show.
Welcome.
Thanks, George, for coming in.
Thanks, George.
And
Hope to see you both up there.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Oh, we'll see each other.
We're gonna
Okay.
see him the next few days for sure.
Yeah, you should see me up in Alaska.
I know.
You guys should come help me run the river, or help me run my gear up and down, or
Tell you
something.
what, you pay for my plane fare. and I'll go.
I could probably do that.
You pay for the plane fare. I'm there.
But I would almost need you to come up for a couple weeks if I'm going to pay for the plane
Oh,
fare.
that's true.
You know?
I'm right with that.
You okay
Hey,
with it?
we can cook.
Sign me up.
We can guide. We can make videos. We can
Well, let's do
all that
it.
Stuff. Yeah.
I'm already there.
And Lindsay's fine with it if you're going, right?
She might as well come up too.
Come on.
Oh, once again, thank you, Lindsay, the producer.
Welcome.
Yeah, she's doing such a great job. Thank you. She's my other best child. I have 2 daughters.
And only
they're
one.
They're both the best childs, right?
All right, say goodbye.
All right, she's like, end it. All right,
Okay.
thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Good style.
Bye.